Lacho elogwijo masipotise sibulise kumakhaya ngamakhaya kwindawo ngendawo sisithi siyanamkela kwinkqubo yenu Ekhaya Jikelele kanti ngokumbukeli singena kwisiqendu sethu sesibini kwaye ke ubusandulungena sithi khulula lo bhatyi wamtyekilekile apho ekhaya kuninzi ke esikuphathele kona njengoko ke sithe sayiqwela sayiqongqotha iyure yokuqala apho kaloku besime nodliwano-ndlebe nenkokheli ye-IFP uhlabisa sakuphathela kaloku nomba we-SMS zapha eSARS ndim lo ukholosa kalubisi unonkanyezi inkanyezi enomsantsa phakathi kwezinye ndihamba naye uNadia
halala sahleli naye ke mbukeli uNadia dambuza uMandlovu kaloku zidle ekhaya kuba siswela umalusi mbukeli nakule yure yesibini singena kuye sisakuqhubeka kaloku sinicubela oko sinivunele kona kwezinye zezinto esingazaniphathela zona singabalule ezisematheni ubala kaloku udliwano-ndlebe ngemotivation okunye kaloku malunga nokugaleleka kwamabhokobhoko kwisikhululo senqwelomoya samazwe ngamazwe i-OR Tambo namanye amanqaku nonkanyezi kuzaba mandi namhlanje o-OR Tambo
utsho kanje
ndithi uphuma kwam apha ndileqa khona
10:55 ungenzi impazamo hayi masijonge mbukeli kweziphala phambili.
On Saturday night, South Africans watched with great pride and joy as our national rugby team, the Springboks, became the world champions of rugby for the 4th time since the advent of democracy in our country.
This is Keke Maheta on Ekhaya Jikelele SABC Monday to Friday. Ungaputhelwa.
Umongameli uCyril Ramaphosa ubhengeze umhla we-15 kweyoMnga njengeholide kawonke-wonke emva kokuphumelela kweSpringboks kumdlalo wamagqibela kankqoyi wendebe yehlabathi yombhoxo.
I want us to now rally behind the Proteas in the same way as we have given our support to the Springboks. I want us all to embark on a period of celebration, culminating in a celebratory holiday after our matriculants have finished their exams and the Proteas have done the country proud at the Cricket World Cup. I know that many of us want us to have a public holiday now to celebrate, but we should all agree that we should give our matriculants time to focus on their exams and celebrate with them afterwards. Otherwise, it will disrupt their ability to focus on their most important journey, which is writing a matriculation exams. And this affects close on to 1 million young people. In celebration of the Springboks' momentous achievement and the achievements of all our other sportsmen and women, and as a tribute to the resolve of our united nation, I'm declaring Friday the 15th of December 2023 as a public holiday. We declare this to be a day of hope, a day of celebration and unity.
Kenene mbukeli wami kuyoqala kunobathane kusale unobangela ngalamhla weholide kanti ke xa sihlabela mgama nomvimba wethu umphathiswa wemfundo esiseko uNG Mutshekga uthi baqinise ukhuseleko ukunqanda ukubonwa kwamaphepha ngaphambi kokuba abafundi babhale uthi ke okwangoku akukho phazamiseko luchaziweyo njengoko abafundi bebanga le-10 beqalile ukubhala phezolo.
Isikhathi esinzima kubafundi bakamatriculation baqala izivivinyo zabo zokuphela konyaka.
I'm grateful for having the chance to be in matric, and I hope my parents are proud that I made it.
A lot of people didn't make it, so understanding that I had this opportunity, I'm really grateful.
Babalela izinkulungwane ezingamakhulu ayisishiyagalombili abafundi abazobhala izivivinyo zokuphela konyaka ezikhungweni eziyinkulungwane eziyisi-7 kuzwelonke.
From the public system, nationally we're at 779,337. So that's what we have for your full time. For your part-time, they were at 181,000, which takes us close to about 900,000. Then you calculate your IEB, your independent exams, because they're also sitting for exams, and all other independent exam bodies. And in total, there'll be 1 million young people sitting for exams now.
We've been
working very well with the schools, encouraging them to have backup, power, that is generators. Those that don't have will then, be renting out those generators for them.
Masijonge ezezimali inyanga ezintandathu zokuqala zonyaka mali zibonise ukuqekelelwa kwengeniso okungekuhlanga kunye namanqanaba aphezulu enkcitho. Idatha kanondyebo wesizwe ibonisa ukuba ukuqokelelwa kwengeniso kungaphezulu nje kwe-783 yeebhiliyoni zeerandi ngaphantsi kancinane xa kuthelekiswa ne-784 billion zeerandi eziqokelelwe ngaxeshanye kunyaka ophelileyo. Inkcitho kwelinye icala ingaphezulu nje kwe-triliyoni yeerandi xa kuthelekiswa ne-949 yeebhiliyoni ezibhalwe kunyaka ophelileyo kwangaxeshanye.
Kubanjwe abantu ababini abasuka kwamanye amazwe ngongekho mthethweni ngethuba amapolisa eqoqa ivenkile eMlazi kumazantsi eTheku. Abasemagunyeni kwisebe lophuhliso lwezoqoqosho bafumane ukutya okuphelelwe lixesha kwezi venkile.
Sisendaweni lapha yaseMlazi la umnyango kakhulukazi wezokuvakasha nokuthuthukiswa komnotho esifundazweni KwaZulu-Natal uzama ukuthi uvale izindawo noma ama-tuck shop lawo ekunabantu abadayisa ukudla okuthekwa bola nokuthi bathole nalabo abadayisayo abangenawo amaphepha ukuthi badayise kule ndawo. Kanti sizokhuluma lapha noNdaba Esibiya okungiyena oqhamuka eminyangweni wezokuvakasha esifundazweni. Ndaba kafushane nje usuku lwanamhlanje libaleke ngani nokuthi kungani nigasele eMlazi?
Sibonga njengoba ungqongqoshe wezokuthuthukisa zomnotho ezokuvakasha ezokwemvelo uSibonisa Duma imemezelile ngesonto elidlule ukuthi kuzoba nombhidlango wokuthi kuvikelwe abantu bala KwaZulu-Natal ikakhulukazi emalokishini nasey'ndaweni zasemakhaya njengoba kukhona ukudla okudayiswayo ama-spaza shop ukudla sekubolile njengoba usuke washo kuyavela futhi ukuthi ke kukhona abangenazo imvume zokuthi babe la eningizimu neSouth Africa abadayisayo ingakho nje ungqongqoshe ekhambela phambili ukuthi qinisekiswe ukuthi kuyakwazi ukuthi kuvikelwe osomabhizinisi abenza umsebenzi ngendlela eyamukelekile.
Sihlehliselwe umhla ongaziwayo ingxoxo zekomishini ezimeleyo ekhokhelwa ngujaji uSisi Rampepe osele sidla umhlala phansi ephanda unobangelo womlilo owatshabalalisa isakhiwo eMarshall Town eGauteng.
Ukukhathazeka ngezokuphepha kuphazamise umsebenzi wesigcawu esiphenya ngomlilo washisa isakhiwo eMarshall Town. Abezindaba banqatshelwe ukungena ngenxa yokuthi le ndawo ikwazi ukwamukela isibalo esithile sabantu.
As we heard from the Commissioner Rampepe, our clients served the commission with a notice advising them that unfortunately, due to the fact that the venue did not comply with the requirements of the bylaws, they had to issue a notice to that effect.
Umbiko mayelana nokungalandelwa kwemigomo yezokuphepha ukhishwa umasipala waseGoli. Lesigcawu sezobufakazi ukuthi izindawo zokuphuma uma kunesimo esiphuthumayo sasivalelekile ngesikhathi kuqubuka umlilo.
On Friday, the city advised the commission that given the head count of people present in the room, there ought to be a certain number of fire escape routes. Unfortunately, that could not be organized between last Friday and today. So it is in that regard that the city, we are instructed, had to then issue this compliance notice to the commission.
Lesigcawu sinikezwe izinyanga eziyisithupha ukuze siphenye ngembangela yomlilo.
UMzantsi Afrika umemelela ukuba kukhuselwe abemi basePalestina kungquzulwano oluqubayo. Umbutho iSave the Children uthi unikeze ingxelo yokuba inani labantwana babulewe eGaza kwezi veki zintathu zidlulileyo ligqithise inani lonyaka labantwana babulawa kuzo zonke iindawo ezinongquzulwano zehlabathi ukusukela ngonyaka ka-2019.
Phinde sikwamkele kwakhona inkosi kaloku ngokuhlala nathi usabukela inkqubo yakho ithanda kunene kwaye siyakwamkela ngezandla ezishushu izandla ezinothando ubukele Ekhaya Jikelele ukanti ke ukuthetha esidlangalaleni kunye nentetho ekhuthazayo ibisoloko saziwa ngokukhuthaza abantu abamoya uphantsi ngenxa yemingeni yobomi ngoku kukho i-mindset development ujabuzwane yingcali ke kwelo candelo ungumseki we-Mindset Development Institute kwaye waphuhlisa ngaphezu kwengqondo ezingama-40 ungusomashishini isithethi umqeqeshi kunye nomququzeleli kwiinkqubo zobunkokheli uququzelele iindibano ezahlukeneyo kwiinkampani ezingaphezu kwama-50 kumazwe ali-10 amazwekazi amathathu kuquka namaziko emfundo ephakamileyo. Jabu masikwamkele ngale ntseni apha Ekhaya Jikelele kunjani?
Ngiyaphila njani sisi?
Siyabulela nathi enkosi sivukile. Jabu before sithethe ngawo wonke lo msebenzi sisibona uba usewenze umsebenzi omkhulu kakhulu kumacandelo ngamacandelo kodwa masike siqale sithethe ngawe eqala. Ujabu ngubani?
Ujabu umfokazwani kodwa ke ngikhulele eFree State as umSuthu.
Awu.
So uzozwa nje ukuthi nelimi lesizulu hayi it's a bit tough. But ke ngikhulele eFree State I'm a South African. Ngishadile and nginabantwana abayi-5. So
ngaphandle ke kothetha siyathetha nge-motivational speakers abantu abathethayo bakhuthaza abantu wena usispeaker but also kuthiwa you are a mindset developer. Sicela usicacisele what exactly is mindset development?
When a mindset development is ngesingesithi it's an art and science of how thinking develops. Njengabantu nje lindlela sicabanga ngayo iqala from somewhere ukuthi umuntu azocabanga ukuthi let's say for example uyivila or you are going to be successful or angeke ube successful, that starts from somewhere. So the moment you understand ukuthi ucabanga kwakho kuvelaphi and whether or not that's valid, that's what mindset development is, it's about. So mina into engiyenza ngihlala nje ngisenza ama research or understand ukuthi like for example la in Ekhaya South Africa one of the biggest problems of thinking is lendaba victim mindset ukuthi sizwe ngathi angeke siphumelele. There's so many problems khona inkinga eziningi kakhulu sihlala si oppress and then to ukuthi manje awubona amandla unawo. So that's basically mina ke my job is to show people ukuthi what is it that makes you feel either empowered or feel disempowered.
Okay, so umuntu xa esiza kuwe eqala ethi mhlambe maniqale apha unceda abantu abanjani usebenza ne-corporate zodwa okanye uyasebenza nabantu abazimeleyo individuals?
Ngisebenza nama-corporate also with individuals. Kahle most people ngisebenza nabo ilabantu bathi they are at the place of self-actualization. Umuntu for example that has worked extremely hard actually with manje akazi ukuthi ndiempilweni manje what is their purpose other than ukusebenza ukwenza imali and accumulating all the assets. What else can they do in their life? So most of the time it's people that are at a crossroads in their lives. Or mhlambe umuntu that wants to start over nje like I did mina at the age of 39 where I had to start over and had to look at my whole life and figure out ukuthi from now on what is it that I want to really, what kind of change do I want to make in empilweni? So, but then in companies normally it's to ngisebenza with leadership, ngisebenza futhi with emotional intelligence, effective communication, and ngisebenza futhi nama entrepreneurs ukuthi bakhulisa business zabo.
So nabani na angeza kuwe azocela uncedo?
Yes, but ngithole ukuthi abantu abaningi that I can't work or that don't benefit or that I struggle to work with is umuntu that hasn't experienced life a lot. So ngisebenza khona abantu that have had a lot of experiences empilweni, and then making sense of all the experiences and then rechanneling that into ultimately lento ufuna ukuyenza wena empilweni yakho for the rest of your life.
Sounds very interesting. Maybe if you could just take me through the process. Like step one, what's step one? What do you look at?
Step one is to accumulate information about your past.
Okay.
Understanding, for example, izinto zokufana nama-trauma ukuthi when you're growing up, what is it that has shaped and molded the person that you have become? Step two is to understand whether or not some of the ideas, some of the way that you think, whether or not that's still valid in your life. Step three is to take from your life what's going to help you to move forward, and then relearn what you need to relearn, and also develop new ways of thinking about your life. And then step four is to apply that to the point where manje you reach a level of high proficiency. And then manje you have completely transformed into the person that you believe or that you want to be. Because abantu abaningi, they're fighting off ideas from when they're small, where they said uzuba so. And even when they're succeeding, they're still not becoming themselves. They're just still saying, I know ngizonibonisa ukuthi ngibani mina. Noma umuntu aseka CEO, usase busy ebonisa abantu.
Okay.
And then unfortunately that thing can lead to sabotage. Because what if lento ngithe ngeke ube yona, it was something that you were not supposed to be anyway.
True.
At some point kumele find out ukuthi kahle kahle mina ngifuna ukuthi ngibe ubani empilweni. What is it what kind of change ngifuna ukuyiletha la emhlabeni?
So a lot of self-actualization.
Yes, a lot of self-actualization, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of validating and invalidation, a lot of self-assessment, a lot of really confronting the person in the mirror and saying, ukuthi mina kahle kahle, this is who I am, knowing who I really truly am, not just fighting off ideas of who they said I'm not, but actually being on a journey of finding, for example, your voice. Do you really truly know what your voice sounds like? Not just auditorily, but when now do you want to umuntu that has kindness, or do you want to speak as umuntu anamandla? Do you want to speak as umuntu clear? Or hlala ukhuluma nje because I want to tell them. That thing, whatever you do, it's never about what you want to do. It's always linked to other people.
So it's very purpose-driven.
It's very purpose-driven. And it's very much oriented towards the inside. Understanding whether what has been put inside of you. And lezo zinto vele is a king that really annoy you about impilo. Perhaps that's actually your calling that's going to bring out umuntu onguye. As opposed to nje uhlala ucomplainer, but those things that were now mostly one that really grips you, that grabs your heart, that grabs your mind, that captures your entire psyche, your emotion. That is what's calling out for you. Exactly. And why ngikapkisa? You know, why exactly? What is it about it? Or sometimes go against my own principles because I'm so angry.
Jabu, so sebenze kakhulu with big corporate companies, banking sector, insurance companies. So i-services zakho zizincede njani as companies usebenze nazo?
I think into ngithanda kakhulu ukuthi as an African, as South African, mina ngiletha nje i-context yethu la izwe lethu. Because most of the time, there's most motivation we have learned from outside, from the West. But being able to help corporates understand the South African context, yoguti ujabuzwani magaphuma a township, and then for the first time siyasebenza manje ujabuzwani doesn't have financial literacy, for example. So the moment umfaka umnikeza 50,000, as much as izomnceda ngokuthi akuzawuthenga ukudla, it might also be a trap. Because if he doesn't know how to manage the 50,000, eventually uzongena isikweletini. The next thing is demotivate emsebenzini because manje he's got too much debt, and then it's going to affect the way that they perform emsebenzini, and especially in your sales environment. Umuntu uzophuma from one company to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, trying to get more money. But inking is not more money. Inking is the issue of financial literacy. And I believe most corporates have to have that responsibility, take it upon themselves, given the history of our country, given the lack of exposure to so many things that we get exposed to, masisingene emsebenzini. And it's not so much umuntu ayekho competent. It's just that they've not been exposed, and as a result, they have to be given time to get used to how the way izinto zisebenza ngakhona emsebenzini, contrary to some of our people.
Ufumene nje promotion akayazi nalo financial planning, asuke nje kwizinga elisezantsi azibone sephezulu, angayazi noba uqala njani, and nengxaki yepower. Umuntu asuke ezantsi ebeqhele uphatho athi nami xa sendifika phezulu ndizawubabonisa.
Yabona leyo nto, that's exactly that. Ukuthi abantu baningi thina siyazi nje ukulwa ngoba lapha siphuma khona kunenkinga eziningi kakhulu, and then sifunde ukulwa. But most ungile kwindawo lapho khona so ku safe manje, and you're not supposed to ukulwa anymore, you're supposed to wakha. Do you know how to build from the place of safety? Yakwazi nje ukukhuluma from indawo unamandla kuyo, as opposed to continue with that mindset ukuthi I'm a victim, I'm powerless, and no so unamandla. You're still fighting as if you are a victim, but no longer now as a leader, because your language kumele ishintshe mase uyi leader. Your strategies have to change when you are safe, when you have the responsibility now of taking other people with you, not just where now we want nje. Your mindset has to change, and you have to learn manje ukuthi uma kusukhona abanye abantu, uma khona something I call variables of complexity that come with leadership. How then do you empower yourself to handle that, not just where nanje we want?
Do you mind sharing like your most successful story up at Utaike? I'm proud of that one, or I'm proud of that project that I ran there.
The one particular story that I think about is actually my business partner. Nhlangane naye about 4 years ago, and then she was already a successful, person, but but he was always, talking herself down. I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do that. And then I started doing some work with her. And then eventually showed her, you've already accumulated so much work. What about put together a portfolio of evidence that shows how much you've achieved, and then start talking from that point. I have done this, this is what I have learned, this is what I want to do in the future. Manje sisebenza together, sigai business partner, naye manje sigai mindset development specialist.
Hi, man, together. Then the portfolio so that this will because I think nayoba tiba nayo lanto self-doubt sometimes.
Is self-doubt the only way to overcome it is that kumele nje uhlale phansi wena understand ukuthi number one, how have I done izinto engizenzile, and how much have I done, how well did I do? Otherwise nje you'll continue to, they call it imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, which means ukuthi uhlala uzidoubt. No more achieve, the more you achieve, the more you doubt yourself.
Thina ke seseyinqubo entsha kwaye njengayo nayiphi na enye inkampani singathanda ukuva kuwe malunga nokuzilungiselela kuphuhliso ukuya phambili kancinci nje ungasikhuthaza uthini?
Be gracious to yourself. Remember ukuthi when something is new, you have to become like a child. Learn again. Become enthusiastic. Don't be so hard on your mistakes. Take note of your mistakes, write them down, take notes of what you're doing well, write it down. All throughout as you're progressing, make sure that you keep on keeping track. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the mistakes that you shouldn't repeat. And unfortunately, you're also not going to be able to consistently apply your brilliance where you've done well if you don't keep note of what you're doing well. So understand your life stages. Get that enthusiasm, get excited, explore, be adventurous. But at the same time, have a vision, see we're going that way. But the only way you know how far you're going is if you keep track of where you're going. So don't lose sight of where you're going. And at the very same time, as you realize your areas of or gaps of growth, go through your growth process. Make sure you expose yourself to, or rather you learn from those that have done what you've done well. Don't be proud and have this thing, we want to be an overnight success. Meaning that, when everybody was sleeping, we're working, and the next day we're successful. No. Go and ask the people that have done what you've done. ngaphambi. Let them borrow from other people's experiences. You don't have to learn everything on you yourself.
Nyanisile ukuthi unyathi buzo kwabaphambili. Umuntu ke ngoku mhlambe othi ndifuna utshintsha icareer but noma iminyaka seyihambile sendimdala ungacebisa uthini kuye utyhafile ngoku uhlele endlini uthi hey ndiyabawela bona nje utshintsha umsebenzi kodwa andiyazi bandiqale ngaphi na.
The first thing engasho ukuthi khumbula umuntu ofana no Colonel Sanders loqala KFC. We qale ngo 63 years old. Mina nje ngijabuzwana ngiqale I started over at the age of 39. So fast forward 5 years later, I've done a lot of international work which I didn't have exposure to before. So you have to ask yourself this question: how long can I live like this? What if ngizophila for the next 30, 40 years? Can you afford to live like that way? What about just taking maybe a year or two to relearn and then to you know, you can change your life and then at least the rest of your life is amazing.
Kuyaqaleleka. Kuyaqaleleka.
You know you can.
Umuntu ofuna ukuxhumana nawe angakufumana phi Jabu?
Website jabuzwane.com. Enye is mindsetdevelopmentinstitute.com, and then kuma social medias @Jabuzwane Talks. @Jabuzwane Talks. Noma ngathi nje Jabuzwane mindset aziningi on Google uzongithola nje ngitholakala khona.
So basithi xa siqala i-mindset development program ithatha ixesha elingakanani?
We have a week program and then coaching can take anything between 6 months to a year depending on what is it that you want to achieve. And every now and then sinama masterminds nakhona lapho senza khona mhlambe a week of 1 day of just mindset transformation. So kukhona different programs depending on ukuthi wena yini lento uyifunayo. Uma company, if we need an individual, obviously coaching is better than to sihambe a journey. Yes.
Because it's more focused on the individual needs.
Yeah, and then you know, in sorting out the complexity it takes a long time. It takes a long time to go into those sensitive places that you don't normally want to go to, and debriefing and re-regulating the emotional energy that you experience once you start going into some of those areas that are really, really confusing, like maybe also even traumatic.
So before uqale lo msebenzi intoni wayifundayo esikolweni?
I've been a pastor for 13 years. Ngafunda a 4-year theology degree.
Okay.
I did a little bit of business management with GIPS, but mindset development is actually a course that I put together, that I started teaching for the last 4 or 5 years, and now other people are starting to latch onto it. So the opportunity to be presenter, for example, at Princeton in the USA, and then present some of it at some of the institutions of higher learning, is helping them to put together, hopefully, something that we can offer at universities eventually.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Such an amazing program. Jabu, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you nothing but the best going forward.
No, thank you so much. Nami ngibongela ithuba lokuthi ngibela.
Wene. Enkosi kakhulu ngexesha lakho Jabu. Noba ke mbukeli benguJabuzwane umseki we-Mindset Development Institute nobethetha nathi ngomsebenzi omhle awenzayo. Kodwa ngoku bakhe sithi qhwi evekileni siyabuya kungekudala hlala nathi. Intshatsheli zehlabathi yamabhokobhoko kulindeleke ukuba abuye eMzantsi Afrika esuka eFrance namhlanje. Iibhoks zikhusele ngempumelelo isithaba sayo sendebe yehlabathi ngokuphumelela ngo-12-11 kwiNew Zealand kumdlalo wamagqibela kankqoyi eStade de France, Paris eFrance ngomgqibelo ebusuku. Ngelixa isizwe silindele amabhokobhoko ngomdla, sinentatheli yethu yezemidlalo kwisikhukhulo senqwelo uVusiwe Ngcobo. Vusiwe, sikubungelele, sikwamkele kwi-Ekhaya Jikelele.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu dadewethu njengoba usishilo ke namhlanje silane OR Tambo International Airport silindele ama Springboks ukuthi afike. They will be touching down go 5 to 11. Kodwa njengoba nawe uzibonela already abantu sebaqalile ukufika lane OR Tambo. They want to see the champions in action. Let me chat to some of these rugby lovers over here. Hey, good morning to you. How are you doing?
Hey, good, because the Bokke is coming back with the trophy.
The Bokke is coming back with the trophy. You don't even seem to be cold in this weather.
No, who can think about cold when you think about the Bokke?
Hey, tell me, who's your favorite Springbok?
Siya Kolisi.
Captain Fantastic.
Yes, he is. And Lebok is a real Springbok.
Hey, oh, I like that. Lebok is a real Springbok rhyming.
We love Lebok as well.
Tell me who you out here with this morning.
With my sons, Ladanian and Jaden. Yeah, so they took a day off school. So we can hear. I don't have a voice for the last 3 weeks. So I hope the voice recovers still. But we'll be there.
Listen, we were hoping the holiday would be today so they wouldn't have to take the day of school, right?
But the 15th will also cover for us, the 15th of December that the president gave us.
Works just fine. Let me speak to this young man over here. How are you doing?
Thanks. Good.
Who's your favorite Springbok?
Faf de Klerk.
Faf de Klerk. Dynamite comes in small packages, right?
Yes.
All right, let's speak to your brother. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Do we have a future Springbok player in you?
Maybe.
Do you play rugby?
Yeah.
What position?
14 and 11.
14 and 11.
Yeah.
No 10 for you. Tell me, who's your favorite Springbok?
Cheslin Colby.
We also love it, Cheslin Colby. Did you see how frustrated he looked when he got that yellow card? He couldn't even watch the rest of the game.
Yeah, it made me very nervous.
Oh, well, awesome. Dad, you're an awesome dad. Thank you so much for coming out with your family. What's your message to the Springboks? Because they may actually see this.
I'm proud to see that they are actually religious, and when they do win the game, that they give all the glory to God at the end of the day.
Absolutely amazing. And we also saw from Captain Fantastic, Siya Kolisi, of course, those bands that he has around his arms. I'm going to move through this way. I'm looking at Utando.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name? Where are you from?
Morgan. I'm from Texas in the U.S.
You're from Texas in the U.S. and you're waiting for the Springboks?
I just arrived and I'm waiting for the Springboks and my friend who's just landed from London. So we're both botanists actually. And it just so happened we are arriving at the same time as the arrival of the team. So we're hoping their good fortune rubs off on us for our next month while we're here. We're going to be working with some collaborators at the South African National Biodiversity Institute, SANBI, and in Pretoria, and just excited to be here. It's a really cool time. And
so tell me something, how big is rugby in the US? Because we're so used to seeing your American version of football, because, you know, the rest of the world kind of calls football soccer, vice versa. How big is rugby?
It's growing for sure, and I think this game was followed more broadly than I expected. It went well because it coincided with the middle of the American football season, so that really helps, I think, grow momentum and enthusiasm for the sport in the U.S. I was following along, and how exciting it was to see the end of the game and the results, and know that I would be arriving today and be surrounded by the celebration, which I honestly had no idea I would be expecting this big of a celebration. I didn't know the team was going to be arriving the same morning as my colleague and I, so.
Listen, this is nothing. The South African rugby lovers are still coming out. This is nothing compared to what you're going to see later.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited to be here. And thanks, and go Springboks.
Go Springboks, that's what we say all the time. Nakho-ke nani nazibonela ke bazile abathandi be-Springboks. Abanye baphuma ngale ngaphesheya kolwandle bafuna ukuzobona ama-Springbok lana, and of course they will be touching down go 5 to 11 khona lana e-OR Tambo International Airport. Nadia, athi ngiyithathe intambo ngizibuyisele kuwena dadewethu.
Thank you so much, Vusiwe. Vusiwe, ngaba sebekhona abahlonipheki abafikileyo mhlawumbe abasuka kuhulumente?
Baboni, so far it's just ama supporters that have arrived. A lot of different media houses here. Of course, nathi njenge SABC News says figile, but so far no officials yet.
Do you know if bazawuqala uzula namhlanje umngcelelo wamabhokobhoko uzawuqala namhlanje okanye mhlawumbe bazafika baphumle then baqalise ngomso wam?
So, i-program esiyitholile from ama-Springboks is ukuthi namhlanje bazofika obviously la airport. Maybe a couple of people bazoba nalithuba lokuthola ama-interviews, but the official trophy tour izoqala ngoLesine. So until Thursday, I mean, abadlali kade bahambile emakhaya, they've been overseas before kuyoqala World Cup. It was those pre-World Cup tournaments ebebedlala kuona nemidlalo ebebedlala phesheya. So okwamanje I think it's just to give them mhlawumbe ilanga lakusasa as well as bese kuthi ngoLesine bayaqala ke bayenza i-trophy tour yabo ezophela ngesonto. And also in early 2024 they're going to continue then with the trophy tour. They've already set out ukuthi bazoya kuziphi indawo la eNingizimu Africa, and those places were chosen based on ama population wabantu in those areas. So unfortunately it will not be the entire country and every single province in the country that they'll be going to.
Siwe, thank you so much. Wonwabe apho OR Tambo Ntombi. Mhlambi nami zawuthi gqi apha ekuhambeni kwexesha.
Awuthi isikhona isikhathi dadewethu ubushayisa nje lapho uze because bona bazobe balenda ngo5 to 11 la OR Tambo. So it will be nice to see you.
Thank you. Lo ke mbukeli biyintatheli yethu uvusiwe Ngcobo uMapholoba ephaka lokhu kwisikhululo senqwelo moya eOR Tambo eyokhawulela kalokhu iWorld Champions amabhokobhoko. Thina sisathi qhwi evenkileni ungagonqi.
Enkosi kwakhona ngokuba usahleli nathi apha enkqubeni iEkhaya Jikelele. Sithi wonke kaloku sibulise naphaku SABC Plus. Kanti ke xa sihlabela mgama ngovimba wethu okokuqala embalini yemvumi zaseFreystata, abaqambi kunye neDJs bazakudibana phantsi kophahla olunye iintsuku ezintathu ukuze ke bafumane enye yenkomfa yokuqala nenkulu yoshishino lomculo kweli phondo. Le nkomfa ke iza kube igcwele ulwazi lweshishini lomculo kunye nezithethi ke eziqeqeshiweyo ezivela kwihlabathi liphela. Sikrwece uAyanda Khoda nokuzosichazela banzi ngayo. Ayanda, masikubulise sikwamkela inkqubeni.
Molo sisi, ndiyabulela ngokunimema apha.
Bulela thina. Khawusinabisele ngayo iFree State International Music Conference. Ingaba ingantoni kanye kanye?
Oh, mama apha sizobiza abaculi abasathuthukayo abasaqalayo nabo abasebekhona emculeni apha eFree State ukuthi bazosithathela ulwazi labo ebalifunayo for umculo wabo kakhulu kwinto ezimanyane neze business emculeni, because umculo nawo unjalo umculo ofaka imali, umculo one business ngaphakathi, so sizosebenzana nento ezinjalo.
Le nkomfa yomculo iza kube isingathwa okokuqala nqa kweli phondo. Khawusinabisele kutheni nje nikhethe ukuyibambela kweli phondo laseFreystata?
Izabe isingathwa esokuqala esiyenzayo kulonyaka, kodwa sijoke ukuthi nakunyaka ezayo sibe nezinye sizoziyenza khona apha eFree State. Isizathu sokuthi siyenze apha eFree State ikuthi kawujongayo ezinye iprovinces zine conferences zakhona noba zincinci but zine conferences zakhona apho balingayo khona ukuthi bafane ngolwazi lomculo, ngolwazi lebusiness emculeni. Kodwa apha eFree State sifumana singaphandle kancinci, sicula italent ikhona, kodwa kakuziwa ezokushishina ezemali ezokuthi umuntu ukwazi ukugenerate imali emculeni wakho siyasokola kakhulu.
Ingaba abaculi intoni mhlamba bangathi bayizuze kule nkomfa kubuyatsho into bana niyakwazi into bana nibaxhobise also ngeshishini lomculo, intoni abaculi bazothi bayizuze?
Kakhulu bazoyizuza apha ukuthi sizozisa izithethi ezivela eAfrika ezivela naphesheka apho zizophana nge-opportunities zokuthi kawufuna ukuthi ucule ngaphandle kwi-South Africa, ufuna ucule kwezi festival ezinkulu ezenzakalayo uyenza njani. Sithathe siyenze nemvumelane sinayo nenye ye-record company ezinkulu apha eAfrika ukuthi bafuneka abeza apha bazospota italente, bazobona ukuthi ngobani abangabathathayo from apha eFree State babakhulise babanatshare bakwazi ukubanika ii-platform ezinkulu ezilapha emhlabeni.
Kutheni lento inkomfa ezikumila kunje zibalekile ingakumbi xa sijonga kubaculi abasakhulayo abakhasayo? Kutheni nje imibhiyozo okanye ii-events njengaleni zayisingatha zibalulekile nje ingakumbi xa sijonga kwi-upcoming artists?
Zibaluleke kakhulu sisi, zibaluleke kakhulu ngoba ezinye ka usijongayo zine-artist eziye zazikhupha or abaculi abakhupha abaproducer ngelimi lesilungu ukuthi ibe bazimele namhlanje bakwazi ukuzisebenzela bakwazi uzenzela into zabo zeshushini bakwazi ukuzimarketela into zabo ku-digital bakwazi ukuzenzela i-branding yabo because ulwazi balithathe kakhulu kwezinkomfa zethu lethu ka uyijonga ihlukene kancinci nezinye izinto because ka ivalayo ivala ngefestival esizoyenza apho sithathe umculo well established ngesilungu samfaka kwabanye abasakhulayo emculweni apha nge-11 leyo sebesivala ngefestival so ihlukane apho ka uyijonga lethi nezinye izinto kuba sithetha i-theory kaSiqibayo sifuna ukuthi siyenze bayibone ukuthi yenzakala kanjani.
Ingaba yintoni abantu abangathi bayilindela kule nkomfa njengoko uye watsho ngaphambili into bana nizaba nezithethe ezisuka kumazwe ngamazwe umuntu othi jonga ndiyafuna uba inxalenye nale nkomfa zintoni mhlawumbe angakwazi into okubana zithi zimphose?
Ulwazi lapho zabe lukhulu kakhulu njengoba ndisho sibe sine branding and digital panel ezophana ukuthi uzibranda njani uyi-artist usebenza uzithengisa njani ku-digital sizabe sine izithethi ezizothetha nge-international festivals from Australia, USA, Ghana ezabe zikhona apha and ka ujonga i-panelist ezethu ezinye zizabe zine i-collective societies apho iSAMRO zabe zikhona i-IMPRA zizabe zikhona iKhapaso nezinye i-collective societies zabe zikhona apha so into esizoyenza ukuthi after eziphanele ezizabe zikhona sizothatha wonke umculo ezabe khona apha ngedemo zabo abafuna ukungenela le competition ngoba sizophana ngerecord deal kayiphelayo lento thina sizabe sihamba in partnership neGalo Music sizophana ngerecord deal from umculo ozabe khona apha eFree State so abaculi kabezayo sibakhuthaleza kakhulu ukuthi baze baphethe i-memory sticks zabe zinomculo wabo oregisterwe ne-collective societies because into ebalulekile yileyo izoyenzeka phaya e-The Zone Car Wash eBloemfontein abaningi bayazi apha eBloemfontein because eBloemfontein e-The Zone Car Wash izabe yenzeka apho usuka nge-9 ufikela nge-11 nge-9 sine launch sizabe siyenza from 6 to 8 apho sizabe sino premier wethu zabe uyivula official umkhulusi Dukwana siyabulela kakhulu ngokuzikhomita as a premier ukuthi aze kwinto ezifana nezi zabacwili izobe iqala nge-9 nge-10 ne-11 then sinezipanelist ezizabe sinazo esizosebenza nazo kakhulu ukuthi zifake ulwazi olukhulu kubaculi bethu sisi.
Abo ke abafuna uba inxalenye yale nkomfa bangaqhagamshelana nani njani nifumaneka phi zithini inombolo?
Okay usenda iWhatsApp ku 081 288 4715 okanye usijonge ku Facebook Free State Music Association uzasifumana hapo Free State Music Association uzafumana information yonke sibeke hapo ku social media yethu okanye sine email hapo ungasi-emailela khona ka ufuna ukuveza izinto ze-email it's info@freestatemusic.org.za info@freestatemusic.org.za uzasifumana hapo kakhulu sisi.
Ayanda masibambe ngazibini ngexesha lakho kwaye siyathemba into yokubana le nkomfa izaba impumelelo enkosi kakhulu.
Ndiyabulela sister.
Lo ke mbukeli besithetha naye nguye uAyanda Khoda ebesethela banzi ke ngenkomfa ezakusindlekwa pha kwiphondo lase-Free State ukuncedisana nabaculi abasakhasayo kanti ngoku masithi qhwesi yobhatala amatyala qiniseka mbukeli into yokubana awuyi kwandawo kusekuninzi esiniphathele kona usabukele iEkhaya Jikelele.